Hi there. Today I'm doing something a little bit different with Tormach, and that's engraving, or I should say tracing, because I'm using Fusion 360, and the cam in there has two options. One is engraving, which involves cutting out material from within the letters or around the boundary of letters, or indeed any image. And the other is tracing, which is just basically following the lines around the outside of a letter to form the letters. You'll see what I mean once we get running, but as you'll see on the machine, I've got set up a rather large piece of brass. Actually, that is quite a bit bigger than it should be, but I'll do the engraving and set it, we'll set it up and do the engraving, and then I'll cut the size afterwards. One thing was, I had a devil of a job with a program. I don't know why, perhaps someone will tell me. When I got the program finished, it told me that it couldn't run, the program cannot do G1 0 feed rate. So that shows you something there that's not quite right. And also here, okay, I'll clear those messages. Hopefully when I go back onto main and cycle start, I spent 3 hours last night going through the G-code and giving a feed which was probably a bit slow. But anyway, I'll get set up. I should have mentioned, you can see this engine running on YouTube on my channel, but basically the engraving is for a plaque for this thing. It's a bit on the large side to get right in on this through the workshop, through these flap doors here, but basically just going to exhibit it at a model engineering exhibition, and I'm just going to put a little plaque on it to tell people what it's all about. Okay, well, you can see here we're cutting air quite a long way from the work. The reason for that is, if you look at the screen here, there's a lot of holes in this, and I got a warning from Pathpilot saying that the number of lines exceeded 100,000, and telling me to go into admin and change something, but I tried that and it wouldn't accept it. So the next best thing is to just see whether it is actually going to cut in these spaces. Judging from the amount of engraving is already done here, I would suggest there's probably going to fill it in. I think it may be just affecting the display, but we'll see before I get too far. I don't want to commit to metal before I know it's going to do it. Well, looking at the way things are going, if you look here, you can see it's actually filling in the gaps. So it looks like the display just doesn't show everything when you get over 100,000 lines or whatever it is. So I'm quite happy with that. It's taken a long time to get here. I just wished I'd decided on a much higher speed. I know the first time I ran a test engraving, it really took off like a rocket. It did it very quickly. This is going to take over an hour to do. But anyway, at least I'm happy that it's going to cover everything. So I'll stop the machine and then take a break. So here we can see I've set the machine away, and it's just on the first bit of engraving. This isn't engraving brass, this is just standard brass sheet, which is a little bit harder than engraving brass, but it looks good and it's fairly deep. The tool is a Tormach diamond drag engraver. I think it's a really good tool, and I've used it once or twice before, but this is the first time I've done anything this big, so we'll see what it comes out like. As you can see, I've been really slow with the speeds, kind of crazy, but never mind. If I want it deeper, I can always take it deeper through going around a second time, I think, but I don't think that'll be necessary. It looks pretty good. I just hope everything comes across. As I say, initially when I first did it, half of the text seemed to be missing, but I think it's gone through it all. So we'll see what, if any, is missing at the end. Well, you can see the boundary is in and it's made a start. It's very hard to see in this light with it being bright brass, but you can see there that it's forming quite nicely. Everything looks okay, performing well. As I say, it's just a little bit slow. As you can see, progress is being made. There are a lot of gaps here and there, words missing here and there, but there doesn't seem to be any logic to the way in which the machine decides which letters to engrave next. So just have to wait until it's finished to see if everything's full. I'm pretty sure it will be. When I tried out the program cutting it appeared to fill in everything that was on the screen, and that was only halfway through the program, and then it started filling in letters that weren't actually showing on the screen. As you can see here, there's a lot of the gaps there. This is, I presume, all that the screen can take. You know, here and here, all of this writing, I presume, is the maximum that can be fitted in there. You know, it's a very big, there's an awful lot of moves on this program. We're not even halfway through yet, and you can see the lines are 7,900 and so on. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but if you want to see this engine running, just look through some of the videos on my channel, and there's some pictures of me running it up in the garden. It's been on there quite some time, and it's well worth well, if you like that sort of thing, it's worth looking at. It's just doing these last couple of letters here, and as you can see on the program, it's only about halfway through, so I'm quite sure it will copy the rest across. We'll see what happens when it gets to do these last few letters. It should carry on somewhere. Well, here you see it's coming out nice. It's quite a big plaque. It's around about, well, the material's 300mm by 300mm, 1.2mm thick brass sheet, so it's quite a large notice, or large plaque. Nearly there. It's only got about another 2 or 3 letters to do, well, 4 more, and then it should start finishing off the rest of the stuff, but we'll see it when it happens. Should do a couple of letters just here, and then we'll see what it does after that. And on it goes. And there it's machining stuff that's not actually shown on the screen, and it's actually printing it in on the screen as it does it. Well, as you can see, we're starting to fill in all the gaps. There's not an awful lot more to do. Should be finished fairly soon. Worth nice to watch, see it done. Well, here's the program just filling in the last few little pieces that I was worried weren't going to be filled in, but I think everything's covered. It's looking pretty good. I'm really pleased with that. So that's the Tormach Diamond Drag engraver for you. Really nice piece of kit. And so easy to use. There we go, that's it finished. So next process will be to take this off here and trim this to size, top and bottom, drill 4 mounting holes in it, and then I'll probably polish the top and put some black wax in the letters to show up. So I'll show you that when it's finished, if I do get the black wax. But it's been quite an enjoyable process, apart from having to spend 3 hours going through the program. When I used the Fusion 360, as I said, it just didn't put a feed in, and I don't know why. Maybe somebody out there will be able to tell me Okay, well that's it for this evening. I'm calling it a day. It's very cold in here. I've got my thermal jacket on and 2 heaters roaring away, but it's still cold. There you see on the screen the program as written. Basically it's just a square which I've extruded by 1.2 mil for the sake of doing that, and I drew the text on in the model part of the program just by drawing text. As you can see here, I decided where to put it, draw a line of it, and then move it into position on here, and that was basically the program. Very simple program. However, as I say, it didn't like to if you come out of the, go at the cam and then hit that, you can see there's toolpaths there, and it doesn't mention anything about there not being any feed, and it certainly shows, but when I went to run it there was no feed.